Welcome to LOCKBEARD PHENOMENA. Number 75, Orb Butter. It is December 17th, 2022. 6 p.m. Central Time. Saturday, as always. Donald Fuller says, Orb Butter is great. That phrase, orb butter, originates with Donald. He coined the term. And I think everybody probably knows what it means. It's kind of grown in its meaning. It's turned into a bit of a battle cry against against some nonsense, at least some nonsense that some of us are perceiving, and some are not. And hopefully that or not will be rectified in time. But as you know, sometimes some people can never see past their biases. And I do believe that we're dealing with a lot of biases, even on the so-called logical, critical thinking, objective, scientific reasoning side of Bigfoot, or at least those who would have you believe that they are. The bullshit side is always going to, be wrong. But the side that I think a lot of these people authentically don't want to cater to the bullshit, but sometimes it ends up happening, like the Patrick Vaughn situation. He was all up in some business on some channels, and then now he's gone. He's freaking gone, right? Because people caught on. Mr. Lee, welcome. Is everybody in there? Yeah, there's somebody in there. Ruthless is here. Welcome. Is that the first time you seen the intros? I've been using that intro for a while now. I really need to rework it. Like, I never did do the ending, the outro, redo the outro. I still use the old outro, which is really simplistic. It's nothing. I think I need to edit up this intro at some point. It may take some time. It'll take a lot of time to get around to that, but it's working for now. Thanks a lot. Welcome to the chat. Waiting for the bus at the moment. Mr. Lee says, Donald, I am from the future. Beep, beep. Donald says, you're from somewhere, Mr. Lee. Mr. Lee says, orb butter is better than lard. No, I don't think so. I think you're better off with lard, Mr. Lee. I never anticipated I'd be deciding to title one of these live streams orb butter, but because people have been so eager to criticize the use of the term orb butter, or to even censor the phrase orb butter, because they don't want us to be able to keep people reminded that we see there's something we see, and it's not just the specifics of that those people, the individuals that it refers to. It's also that we see that there is some biases, um, which we've seen these biases before. Somebody that you like is saying something that's just not true, um, surrounding this subject, and they know, you say, "Oh, that's my friends. You can't talk about my friends like that." Well, look, if you're friends, you can't be calling out people that are mistaken about what they think they saw over Chiang, and then but when your friends, when it happens to your friends, you're not willing to tell them. Like, if you're really their friend, you need to be willing to tell them. So, look, you're mistaken about this. And some people just aren't. And so the last round of the obviously, hopefully some of you kind of know what I'm talking about. The last round of this, and then somebody did a live stream, and jumping on my case because I was willing to say, look, you guys are mistaken about what you saw. I wasn't trying to attack anybody. But if we're not willing to tell people, say, look, the evidence shows you mistaken, and then they're going to continue to be mistaken. And if they're emotionally traumatized, which appeared to be the case, then if you play into that, then you are helping to maintain that emotional trauma on your friends. You're do you see? Can you see yet? Can you see yet? You properly analyzed the situation, you could have just erased the emotional trauma. So you might have been spooked at the time, but the reality is the evidence doesn't show this, and this is why. Look at the images, so on and so forth. Luckily, there was some evidence presented. Otherwise, there would have been no way for anyone like me who actually cares about eliminating that emotional trauma, even though I'm not close to those people at all. But the people that are close to them, that were spending time with them, don't seem to want to erase that emotional trauma. And instead, they wanted to attack me. This is why we don't get anywhere closer to the truth. You have to be willing to tell your friends, look, you are mistaken. This is why you can just calm down. And they were mistaken in that case. And then, so I was going to make a pretty long video, um, a, a documentary of sorts, kind of laying out the case, right? But I decided not to. I put it in mothballs and said, I'm not going to do this. It's just not worth it. Everyone's reacting badly to it. They're, at least it's not worth it at this time. But then, after I started saying some stuff about a new person, and in this case, I think there's some serious red flags. And after saying that, here comes another attack. And so orb butter has become kind of a vive la resistance in this situation, because I'm not alone here. There's other people who are are seeing the same red flags. Some have seen more red flags than me. Because I wasn't paying that close attention to it, but I seen enough. I was having a problem. I was like, look, there's no, something's up. And of course, the stuff that I said was oversimplified or slightly misrepresented when the responses came. And so now at some point, like, I'm not remotely prepared to try and properly address that situation correctly at this time. So sorry, it's not going to happen right now. I got a lot of stuff that has to, there's just too much going on that I have to deal with. And but it made me want to take the other one. The reason why I'm talking about the other one, the previous issue, is because I think I want to take that out of mothballs too. I think it needs to happen. I think I need to take a stand and properly present some of this stuff and show people and to where everyone else out in this community, if they are wondering, okay, what the fuck's going on here, they can go to that documentary video and see exactly what the problem was. And to see that I wasn't trying to attack the group of three. I wasn't. But my chat turned into a big attack on me that night. If any of you that were there, you remember. And I was, of course, going on the defensive. And God damn it, I try not to turn into full asshole mode when people come attacking me, but I why should I? Why should I? At this point, I'm wondering, why the fuck should I? So, Mr. Lee wants an explanation of orb butter. This was some mystery substance that was on Doug Hijack's vehicle. There's been all kinds of speculation as to what the nature of that substance was. Supposedly there's some high strangeness involved with this. No evidence that there's anything strange, just some crap, some schmutz on his car. And anyway, Donald coined the phrase orb butter for the substance on Doug Hijack's car. Doug Hijack, the actor who plays on TV in make-believe shows that claim to be hunting for various creatures, and they of course are not. If they were actually hunting for various creatures with the budget of a network or with the budget of a multimillionaire like Hijack, they would actually find a goddamn Bigfoot. But in order to explain, well, we can't find it because there's some magic and shit. There's some magic shit going on. And that's why we can't find it with normal scientific means. Well, that's a cop-out, right? Likely story. What an excuse. And then you have people suggest, well, why don't you go out there yourself? Fuck you. Don't fucking tell me to go out there myself. I've been out in the woods plenty my whole life. Plenty. Wandering around in the woods without any technology, with no money to spend on it, and certainly don't got enough time to spend any adequate time on the goddamn shit, is a waste of goddamn time. When you tell me to go out in the fucking woods because I'm criticizing someone else's bullshit, And then you're like, well, you're trying to tell me, one, you're trying to tell me to shut the fuck up. No, you shut the fuck up. And two, you're trying to waste my goddamn time. There's plenty of people on fucking glorified camping trips wandering around the goddamn woods. Not attacking that necessarily. There's plenty of people that's just what they want out of it. That's fine. But don't fucking try to tell me to shut the fuck up, which is basically what you're saying in that case, which is why I'm responding with no, you shut the fuck up. And two, you're trying to waste my time. I know it's a goddamn waste of time. If nobody wandering around in the woods is finding any actual goddamn evidence of these creatures, of these people. So don't fucking tell me that, oh, you need to go out there yourself. I spent plenty of times in the woods. Plenty of time in the woods. I don't think a little bit more, according to you, of course, you don't know how much time I spend now or have in the past. You don't know. It's just just what I'm telling you. But this shit's getting old. Don't tell me, oh, you need to go out in the woods. I've been out in the woods. Going out in the woods some more is not going to accomplish anything else. All it's going to do is waste my time. But the main thing, my main issue with people telling me that is what you're trying to do is tell me to shut the fuck up. You don't like me digging at the problems with some of these issues. Even when I'm not really trying to attack someone, people come back and they push back. They don't like it. I want some goddamn results. Tell me I need to go back out in the woods again. Doug Highcheck's the one with the goddamn multi-million dollars in the bank. If he can't find shit with millions of dollars, what makes you think, at least from your perspective, that I'm going to accomplish anything with nothing? Nothing. I don't got shit. People want to go over and pay people to pay people like fucking Rick Dyer to basically tell them what they want to hear, fulfill their fantasies, lie to them. People will pay for lies. There's nothing but truth here. And sometimes the truth ain't what you want it to be. Sometimes you're not going to like the goddamn truth. Well, I'm fucking sorry. You want to live in fantasy land? Yeah, you go over and you go talk to Rick Dyer. You're in goddamn fantasy land. Or some of the other people I've addressed. You're in goddamn fantasy land. Shit's going to stay real here. So, Mr. Lee, I don't know if that's an adequate explanation of or butter. Maybe maybe Donald could elaborate. Ruthless says, I try working BIOS, negate my bias. Mr. Lee says, why can't we all just talk about the stuff? What without getting all upset? Real debate, no harm. I don't know. I mean, these people piss me off when they do this shit. I don't like people censoring me. I'm trying to tell you something. Maybe you should listen. Maybe you should look deeper. Anytime anyone looks deeper in some of the stuff I'm saying, they're going to find out there's some goddamn truth there, because I'm not here to fucking lie to you or make shit up. When we talk about scientific stuff, I ain't got time to try and teach you how the goddamn universe works. I tell you a little bit, but ultimately, the guy who has spent thousands of hours studying and learning this stuff, he knows very well the works of Tesla, Steinmetz, all these guys, Heaviside, all those guys are dead. But luckily, there is a treasure trove, a freaking world, just he's this one guy, and the whole damn world. There's a few other people talking about it, but Ken Wheeler, just one guy in the whole damn world. The future of humanity could hinge on some of the stuff that he's trying to tell you. You know, if you want to hear ghosts are real, I'll tell you ghosts are real. But I'm not going to tell you it's magical phenomena. I'm going to tell you it's a perfectly well explained scientific phenomena. And if you want to understand that, you're going to have to put in the time to understand the real science, and that you're going to get that over at Ken Wheeler's channel, in his writings, his books, his articles. That's where you're going to get that. There's a lot to learn. You got to unlearn some of the bullshit you learned from these quantum physicists, because those guys are fucking wrong. And it's, you know, once you poke around enough with you, keep your mind open. Don't get locked in on their space-time bullshit and their dark matter and fucking everything's a freaking particle. No, that science doesn't hold up at all. But most people don't dig in deep enough to see. So you gotta actually put in the time. But do not latch on, you know, just because, Jesus Christ, don't latch on to what those assholes on TV are saying. You see some correct stuff, but you'll see some incorrect stuff. You'll see a lot of perfectly good observations, but completely incorrect interpretations of those observations. And it happens way too much. Some of it's on purpose. Somebody does not want you to know how reality actually works. They don't want you to know. Address only when you have the facts. Address which part. I mean, all the facts are the facts. All the facts are there. You know, you just gotta be willing to look. You gotta take time and look. Ruthless says, "Come on, man, or butter." Hey, that's what Donald Fuller called it. Michael Haywood, welcome. Mr. Lee says, you can fry eggs on bottles of car if it's hot enough, or butter, good for seasoning. Ruthless says, good old magical thinking. Yeah. Oh, Lockty, says Ruthless. Yeah. Joe's here. Welcome. I saw you were live earlier. I didn't catch it. And he says, hey, I'll just jumping in for a second. What I don't get is why you're so upset about a show like Monster Quest, which was clearly a show meant to be entertainment, just like all those same type shows. My problem is this could take a while. This could take a while. The high check is hanging around the more logical side of Bigfoot, for lack of a better term, right? You got the bullshit side, and you got the critical thinking side, or the logical side, or the you know, objective reasoning, scientifically, you know, solid side of Bigfoot, whatever we want to call it. High check's been trying to act like he's part of that community, like he's part of all that. And the problem is when you got people like that clouding up the water, that's preventing us from making actual progress in all areas of science. And because we got these people out there clouding the water, like flat earthers, right? You got flat earth. These people really piss me off, because they're out there spreading this bullshit, and there's people falling for it. And some of those people are children. Now, if a flat earther messes up the thought process of a child. They have sabotaged their education. They've sabotaged their education, and that is goddamn evil. That is child abuse. Flat earthers, yes. Flat earthers, you are guilty of child abuse. And it must be, we must fight this shit. So we should be pissed about this shit. We should be pissed about this shit. And what's worse is people who cloud the water of scientific progress, just in general, not just Bigfoot or everything. If you slow down the scientific progress of mankind, you put mankind at unnecessary extra risk of extinction. What if we come up against a challenge, an extinction level situation, maybe even something we haven't even imagined yet, and we aren't prepared to deal with that situation and to survive because we were slowed down by a few years by people clouding the water. Our scientific progress as a unit, as one humanity, is being slowed down by these idiots out there. And they think, oh, I'm just trolling, or I'm doing this, or I'm just trying to make money, or, why get mad? I'm mad because you're putting our lives at risk. You're putting the survival of our species at risk. It seems like such a little thing. It seems like such a little thing. What if I don't know. What if the big missiles, I'm not sure if I can get away with saying certain words still on YouTube. You never know. We set off 2 of them. Poor Japan got the brunt of it. It pretty much ended the war, right? What if people clogging the water had slowed down the development of that technology enough that it wasn't developed in time, or by that time anyway, and the war drawed on for another decade, and that resulted in millions more dead. That's a possible scenario. um this kind of shit pisses me off, and I think I'm justified in being pissed off. Slowing down progress by clouding the water needs to be taken on aggressively. It needs to be slapped down. And these people that latch onto the logical side of the subject of cryptids or paranormal at all, they need to be driven off with extreme prejudice. They need to be driven off. Go be with the bullshit side of Bigfoot. We're trying to actually accomplish something on this side. Or at least, through our, at least with our thought experiments and our trying to process and understand what people have encountered and what they have said they've seen. What the evidence, what little we have actually shows. Ruthless says, be glad you're part arseholian. Thank you, Ruthless. Man, I appear to be way behind in chat. So hopefully I don't miss anything. I'm gonna try not to. Boots on the ground, Lockbeard. Boots on the ground. Well, look, you guys see my videos. I'm kind of a little bit in the woods all the time, right? I don't know. I've spent a lot of damn time in the woods in my life. Hell, there was one semester where I was at college. I pretty much took off. I was down in the woods by a river, in a very Bigfoot, or what you'll call it, a squatchy area or whatever. Anyway, there's been sightings in that area. I'm not gonna say specifically where it was, but northeast Oklahoma, roughly. But I was practically living at the river. Anyway, hopefully, Mr. Lee, I get a chance to explore some areas of southern Florida very soon. Go surreal. Yes, I know, says Mr. Lee. Former Everything says, so is Sasquatch fake? I didn't understand what the problem is, and you seem to have a problem with everyone. Just asking. I don't have a problem with everyone. Everyone just has a problem with me. Uh, um, I don't think Sasquatch is fake. I think they are real, and I think that based on what little seems to be accurate information that we have, that they are not a separate species from us. And I know that I haven't presented that case well enough for a lot of people to see what I see and why I say that. And unfortunately, a lot of people aren't going to accept what I say, because I'm basically going to tell you that anthropology has failed in some regards when it comes to looking at the predecessors to modern humans. Um, but that's a whole big bag of worms to open up. But I'm not trying to have a problem with everybody. I have a problem with bullshit and bias and stuff like that. And you see people, they're biased. Because for example, when you're looking at Patrick Vaughn, um, he because it's just like they say Satan is gonna sidle up and smile, right? He's gonna be nice, and he's I've tried some of the people I've tried to tell you about. I was like, look, they're acting extra nice. The reason why they're doing that is to get you off guard, get you to where you're not willing to take them out when they deserve to be taken out, because they're lying to you. But if they be real nice and they smile and, oh, that guy's a great guy, blah blah blah, dude, he's just acting like that so that you'll accept his bullshit story. It happens all the time. Go back and look at some older live streams where we talked about some different people that a lot of people thought, oh, this guy's a great guy. I'm like, well, here's evidence the fucker's lying, or they're covering up for a liar. They're straight up hoaxer or something, but people, because they're become friends with this person, supposedly friends, they're biased and they won't listen when you try to tell them. So look, this person's full of shit, and here's why. Here's the evidence. They're full of shit. So you may look at them as a friend, but they're goddamn lying to you. So how much of a friend is that? So if I come away from this whole freaking adventure with some friends, that's great. But I didn't come here to make friends. I came here to find out the goddamn truth. So anyone that wants to actually find the goddamn truth, that's me. That's what I'm looking for. I want actual evidence of the goddamn truth. Anytime I see any red flags, I'm going to tell you, because I'm not doing you any favors by not telling you. Look at it this way. Let's say I don't even know former everything, whether you're a man or a woman. Let's say your spouse is cheating. Let's just say. And I know about it. Do you want me to tell you or not? I mean, really, do you want me to tell you or not? So I'm not trying to have a problem with everybody. Michael Haywood says particles from the butt cause pink eye. Friend told me. Yeah. There's Squatch Cowboy. He says just had another video drop last night. Overlapped with Pat's live stream, which was a short 1 hour live stream right before Joe went on at 7. Or Satch, where he had what was one of the one of the oh shit. I'm losing the phrase. Wait a minute, what? Wait a minute, what? What's up, Cowboy? Welcome to the chat. Former thanks 3PO. Hey brother, I'm about out of here for good. About out of here for good. Michelle says, order everything. Please consider to listen. Yeah. I mean, Mr. Lee's basically, he says you have to refresh it. Mr. Lee's basically said in chat that he sees what I see about that particular person. The most recent one where we had a little bit of an issue. Uncle Bone says, crap, I can't post links. What the fuck? You can't? Why not? Oh, I see why not. I haven't got what the hell's oh shit. Yeah, I gotta refresh this just to fit. Hold on, Squashing Cowboy. Oh shit. Yeah. This is gonna take a minute. I've only gotten a few moderators because I've had to make a new channel again. So I think I got you there. I think I got you there. There you go. Oh no, that was Uncle Bones. My bad. Uncle Bones. Hold on, I'll get you fixed up too. I don't know how I got my wires crossed there, but oh, where you at? I have to jump over to YouTube to do this. And sometimes it takes a little it gets bogged down and there. You should be set too. Welcome to the chat, Uncle Bones. Donald says our power just went out. I'm using McDonald's Wi-Fi. Hey, whatever you gotta do, man. Himalayan puppy for Michael Haywood. Himalayan in the road. Ritha says an open mind required gatekeeping. Former says, so Doug is a flat earth fucker too and part of the Wu-Tang crew? No, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. As far as I know, he's not. That's not what I was saying. No, let's make sure we got that correct. Puppies are cool, says Uncle Bones. Chessboard's here. Welcome. Mr. Lee says, consider this, Lockbeard. Most scientists do not see what we see. Yep. Ruthless says, you got a new girlfriend, Haywood? Question mark. Mr. Lee says, science sees logical then? Well, the problem is, with sometimes what is presented as scientific consensus is not actually correct information because there are egos involved or there's money involved, some kind of agenda involved to get a certain result, to make it seem as if the science says what somebody wants it to say or what they want the public to believe. And so unfortunately this results in some problems that, like in anthropology, like I was saying, I think that they may see it as problematic information, some of the stuff that I'm talking about. They there's just stuff that's just undeniable fact that some people don't want to accept. And so that's why you got to be able to understand yourself. You got to understand, like, when they present some bullshit to you, you need to be able to catch it, because sometimes they present bullshit to you, like man-made global warming. Absolute bullshit. People are more and more talking about this now because they're figured out it was bullshit. It was a scam. It was one of the government does scams all the time because they're corrupt as hell, right? They're corrupt as hell. Right now, a whole bunch of corruption is getting exposed. Basically, the whole damn FBI. Well, maybe not whole. The upper levels of it, but at this point, I almost want to agree with what's his nuts. What he said the other day is that the entire FBI needs to be disbanded, and I agree. And the CIA, and everyone is found guilty, because a bunch of them are guilty of crimes. They need to go to fuck the jail forever. Some of them have committed straight up treason. But yeah, Mr. Lee, you can't trust what the government says ever. You need to be able to discern for yourself. You need to get an eye for when they're scamming you. So, when vegans try to they give you all this confirmation bias, right? Well, this and that stuff, it's all bullshit at the end of the day. The actual science, if you will actually take the time and study the science of how humans evolved, how human physiology works, and actually just do it for yourself. Try eating nothing but meat for about 6 months. You tell me. Tell me then. You're not going to die. You're not going to die. What you're going to do is you're going to cure a whole lot of shit that's wrong with you. You're going to feel better than you thought was possible. Your brain's going to function better. You're just going to be better in every fucking way. They don't want you to know that, though. The government don't want you to know that. The medical industry don't want you to know that, because they make money off you being sick. They want you to die slow, suffering for decades, taking medications, doctor visits, surgeries, procedures. Let's do a colonoscopy every so often. Let's just shove something up your ass because we haven't shoved enough up your ass. They lie. There's so many lies out there. And I challenge people, if you've heard anything I've said tonight, dig into it for yourself. Do not assume that you know better, because I guarantee you don't. Man-made global warming's bullshit. The outbreak thing we just had, bullshit. Veganism's bullshit. Yeah, so much bullshit. So much bullshit. Donald says, how do you know Kim Wheeler's correct? Well, but I don't know if I told this before, like, because I studied such a wide variety of sciences. I stayed on the college campus for 11 years, and most people, they rush to their degree, they take the bare minimum for their major, and they get the fuck out, and they don't really have a passion for learning. Ken Wheeler is an example of someone who has a passion for learning, for actually being knowledgeable, actually figuring some shit out. And that's the way I was. Like, I couldn't get enough, and I was studying a wide variety of subjects, but mainly sciences. I was a variety of sciences. And of course, if you go through the environmental program, they'll keep hammering home man-made global warming, blah 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 blah. And so at first I was listening and I just basically assumed, this is scientific consensus. What it turns out is it's not. It's so much bullshit. There's so much that you once you start properly learning, you'll see it's complete bullshit. But there's a lot of things that there's holes in various theories, and uh, 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 so when you look at it, and it's just you gotta understand, if you're looking at things through a peephole, because your typical college graduate is looking through a very narrow peephole at the world. They don't actually know anything but that very narrow specialization. You got to get broadened. You got to get broadened. It takes time. It takes a lot of time. And it takes you being able to maintain objectivity. You need to actually take some time. No one, because you hear the word objectivity all the time. Have you taken time to 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 think about what that truly means? To really truly understand and analyze yourself and learn to always look at look at yourself and say, look, am I approaching this objectively? Do I have any biases here? Have I considered everything? Have I tried to negate any potential possibility that doesn't without just reason? Have I just thrown things away offhand? And and anyway, so once you really start going down that path to try to truly find actual wisdom, you'll start to see holes in certain things. Some sciences are really solid. Like, a lot of people, they'll question evolutionary biology. Well, evolutionary biology, I'm sorry, is a pretty damn solid science. But there's a whole bunch of people out there who because they think, and they only think this, it's not, they only believe that evolutionary biology somehow is an affront to their religion. It's somehow they can't reconcile the world with evolution in it, while also being an adherent to that particular religion. So they will go to great lengths and bend over backwards and to try and disprove evolutionary biology. And man, holy shit, is that a comedy show? Holy shit, is a comedy show. And unfortunately, they'll take certain facts, like the ones they'll talk about the mud flood. They'll talk about a catastrophic major flood that affected places all around the world, and they'll point to that. See, they'll point to that as some kind of proof of blah 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 blah. The 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 problem is that there was a worldwide incident. There was. Now, every fucking bit of land on the planet didn't get covered in water. It didn't happen like that. But there was a worldwide incident. And unfortunately, there's some people, because when they hear about this, they see it and they actually think that the young Earth people have actually proved something. They haven't. They've taken a piece of information and they've twisted it to make it seem like it supports their ridiculous idea that the Earth is only 6,000 or 5,000 years old or some bullshit like that. Anyway, going off on tangent after tangent here. It's hard not to. So you start to see holes in stuff, holes in different stuff, holes in different theories. When you look at because they've been talking about, oh, we're gonna achieve grand unification. Well, okay, that sounds pretty cool and all. Here's a question: how was shit ever ununified in the first place? How did you arrive at a place where and I know why they've come up with ridiculous interpretations of their observations that don't make any goddamn sense, and then they try to math their way to making it fit together. But the problem is they got this piece of bullshit over here and this piece of bullshit over here, and they have to make the bullshit fit together, but it doesn't. So they try to math their way there, and that doesn't work. Or they'll go over here to a particle collider and they'll try to discover some new super tiny particle that's going to explain this shit, and they can't. There's a reason for this, and if you want to understand all that, look, you gotta pay your dues. I'm sorry, there's no simple way. You got to pay your dues, and I'm not aware of really anywhere else on the freaking planet where you can find someone other than Ken Wheeler who's going to be able to 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 teach you, because he's got a passion for teaching this that we're talking about, how the universe actually functions, field theory, incommensurability. You can learn that all with him. It's just you're going to have to pay your dues if you really want to understand it. Make a pot of coffee. We ain't got time to address all that shit here. We just don't. I don't know, like, how to start, where to start. Like the double slit experiment, I think, is a good place for some people to start. Like, you say that, and most people don't know what the fuck that's all about. All right, go study about the double slit experiment, maybe as a starting point for you to kind of understand, because what they did, is based on whether you're observing or not, whether or not you get a result in the experiment that indicates a wave or a particle. They got both results. And so instead of saying, okay, there's a problem with our experiment, we didn't design our experiment properly, our original hypothesis was wrong, like we didn't, what we guessed would be the truth of things is not correct. There's something we didn't think of. There's something we got wrong. We got to go back to the drawing board. They didn't do that. They just threw their hands up and said, "Oh, well, it must be both. Must be both a particle and a wave." Well, that's the most ridiculous bunch of bullshit. If you really think about it, it really doesn't take a lot to understand that you can't have something that's both a particle and wave. That's just ridiculous bullshit. If you want to understand what's really going on there, you're just going to have to spend some time with Ken Wheeler's channel. You're just going to have to, and read his materials, and and once you understand that, once you understand how the universe actually works, you will understand how ghosts are real, right? And what explains ghosts. You will understand that. But it's going to take time. It's going to take time. Chessboard says, hello to everyone. Hopefully I'm not too far behind, chat. Looks like I may be way behind. Rutha says, how do you know he isn't Donald? Oh, shit. Well, that'd be proven a negative, though. Well, maybe. Mr. Lee says, Donald, you have 10 foot of snow, Vermont. He probably does. He probably has a lot of snow up there. Rutha says, ever take a tool time to question your beliefs? Ever take the actual, you mean actual time to question your beliefs? Donald says, Ruthless, I'm not saying he isn't. When did you hear me say Kim Wheeler is full of shit? Stevie B's here saying hello. Welcome, Stevie B. Ruthless says, you meat sacks are shit scared of actuality. Some people probably are. Some people probably are. Magical thinking, look it up. I mean, the funny thing is, you know, if someone wants to call it magical, I guess they can call it, because there is some shit that's pretty fucking wild about the universe. And you can kind of understand how people came to believe in magic based on how reality works. You have a meat sack hanging. John Wick is here apparently. He says, doesn't Kim Wheeler claim to have a bag of squatch poop in his freezer? No. Ken Wheeler doesn't actually buy into the existence of Bigfoot, but that's not his area of expertise. So we're not gonna, you know, worry about that. But no, he don't have no squatch poop. He doesn't think that because somebody, I think maybe I said something about it at some point, and he doesn't believe they exist. But I imagine if you really were to pin him down about because he's got other shit to think about. He'd probably say, "Look, I don't fucking know for sure. I don't think they're real." That's probably what he would say. Mr. Lee says, "John Wick, no man." Yeah, no. Who has squatch poop in their freezer? That's Tristan. I mean, Michael Haywood says, all hail John Wick's packing heat, break out the Kevlar. Yeah. Peter Kane. Peter Kane. Ken Walker. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, that's a problem with talking about Ken Wheeler because there's a Ken Walker and people get their wires crossed. Two different people. Ken Wheeler has nothing to do with Bigfoot. And he has a little bit to do with ghosts and stuff, though. Taxidermist. Yeah, the taxidermist. Why is taxidermy coming up lately so much? John Wicks initially, I heard an interview with Ken, and he said he has the poop for real. Yeah, John Wick. That's Ken Walker, I believe, not Ken Wheeler. Former Everything says Satan comes a friend if you believe in that BS. No heaven and hell. Rex says, hello, Lockbeard. Welcome, Rex. Ken Walker. Where in southeast Oklahoma is the spot? I don't know what spot you're referring to. Squatch Cowboy says, no, Mr. Lee, if that's the same guy that friends with Justin from Mountain Beast Mysteries. Yes, he does have a big turd. Probably just a regular animal turd, though. I'd almost bet if it was properly analyzed. Billy Bob, welcome. Truth is out there. Taxidermist guy. See him, John. I really gotta speed this up. I'm way behind chat, ain't I? Talking Ken Wheeler, big freezer full. Not be proving anything. Because you probably don't have an actual Bigfoot turd. Wick's got a hair trigger. It's goddamn cold here. Uncle, for making you, yeah. No problem, Uncle Bones. Springfield. Thanks, Mr. Lee. No, we don't want more moonbat believers, says Ruthless. Mr. Lee says Ken Walker did Big Fur documentary. It was good. Cowboy says Mr. Lee, it was good till he started talking about his love life. Who? Kim Walker? I guess I didn't catch that. Hey, at least he wasn't like Richter talking about his Richter. Uncle Bones says, Ruthless, here's some urban or butter. Well, they went downhill then. I agree, man, says Mr. Lee. Thank you, cowboy. Ruth says, Bones, not my cup of tea. I suspect YouTube is so full of trash now. The algorithm is having a field day, stripping people of discerning processes. Mr. Walker named that documentary after his ex-wife. Joe says, atheists work on Sunday, so I have to go. Good night, y'all. Good night. Take it easy. Take it easy. You're probably long gone, though. I'm like 20 minutes behind in chat. Stick to taxidermy and turds. Billy Bob says, science is determined these days by who pays the most money to have scientists push their agenda. Yeah. Yeah. You got to watch out for those agendas. You know, right now we're still watching a certain doctor. Oh, I think I have to censor the name. Fauci. Big liar. Guy who's probably, it appears, guilty of murdering many thousands of people with a little injection. They're trying to deny it still, but shit's come out. The shit's out. And everyone who fucking didn't listen to me when this shit first started, I was trying to tell people, I was like, look at this, look at that. There's all these indications that the entire thing, all of it, is a fraud. All of it. Y'all wouldn't listen to me. You fucking destroyed the world over it. You destroyed small businesses. You got people killed over it. They didn't die from the thing, from the germ. They died from other things. And then once you started injecting them with poison, a bunch of people started dying of that. And that's a proven goddamn fact right now. I don't know why there's still people just aren't buying into it. But I get vindicated on everything. Why? Because I like to be right so much that I make sure I'm always right. Shit. Government has been running PSYOP since it started. Yeah. Corrupt to the bone. Probably needs a full dismantling, but unfortunately, if we fully dismantle it, some other big assholes would come wandering in here. Oh, we're just going to take this bitch over while you guys are trying to have a reset. World-class taxidermist. Mr. Lee says, Lockbeard, you watched Bobo on Hidden Existence, Daniela's show tonight. It was good. Mr. Lee, I don't watch channels that don't meet with my criteria, right? If it's a den of nonsense, I don't watch them. And Bobo is an actor. Okay? Actor. He acted on a show called Finding Bigfoot where they didn't find any Bigfoot. They didn't find shit. He's an actor. There's nothing legit about him or any other people involved with that. If they were legit, they would have found something of interest. They're actors. They're entertainment only, and I'm not really interested in watching Bobo. Only interview I think I fully sat through Well, I think there's more than one. I think there's ones, but watching him on Joe Rogan back in 2013, that was kind of entertaining. But at the end of the day, Bobo, bullshit side of Bigfoot, I don't have a lot of time to give to that. I just don't. Ruthless says no business or money in reducing customer base modern medicine. Yeah, it's true. I don't know what he's laughing at, but he's laughing. Fantastic work, Haywood. Stuffed a beaver once. Just once? Yeah. Bad shit. Veganism, Mr. Lee. Haywood says chessboard wanted to mount a deer till it mule kicked him in the crotch. What? Science got me to Ken Wheeler. Yeah. So I guess I didn't finish the story. Like, start seeing, all these holes and stuff. So I'm looking at the everyone out there I could find, trying to figure out, what's real, what's not, what holds water, what science holds water, and at some point you're gonna get to this. If you're not there already, you're gonna get to the point where you're gonna like, okay, Einstein's bullshit, and Nikola Tesla is like one of the greatest minds of all time, along with some other guys, but who got shit into the stick, and and at some point you're going, if you're lucky, you land on Kim Wheeler's channel somehow. And so basically I was looking for someone that could explain, because there's some shit I wasn't figuring out, like how do I reconcile this issue or that issue. You get the Kim Wheeler's channel, and you might end up like in the Electric Universe crowd, right? Electric Universe crowd's bullshit, but you'll land there. You could land there as a potential explanation for shit, and they try, but they fail. Eventually, you're gonna land on Kim Wheeler's channel, hopefully, if you keep trying to figure out what the truth is and how to make all the pieces together. And once you get to Kim Wheeler's channel, you'll figure out that there's no need to try to achieve grand unification, because it was never ununified to start with. It was always unified, as long as you followed your observations to their logical conclusions, and not ridiculous interpretations that are just flat wrong, and so on and so forth. So yeah, if you science hard enough and correct enough, you'll eventually get to somewhere in the vicinity of someone like Ken Wheeler, and hopefully specifically Ken Wheeler, because again, I'm really not aware of anyone else, anywhere putting out the proper information, the proper understanding of how the universe functions. If you want to know, if you're trying to figure out what the fuck's gravity, you'll try and ask mainstream science, and they can't really explain it. Kim Wheeler does. You want to try and understand what the fuck magnetism is? Mainstream science, again, they can't explain that shit. You go to Kim Wheeler's channel, you're going to understand what the fuck magnetism is and how it works. And you're also going to understand that basically gravity and magnetism are the same goddamn thing. And then shit starts getting really cool if you get your brain in it and understand it. Cowboy beavers are fond of the wood. I'm trying, Mr. Lee. Is orb butter vegan? That's a great question, isn't it? This objectification keep me there. Yeah. Timmy Boy's. Where's Timmy Boy? Did I miss Timmy Boy? There he is. I see him. What's up, Timmy Boy? Funniest thing I heard all week. Michael says the original John Wick was a coon hunter. He wrote a book about coon hunting. Walk with Wick. Oh, I think Ruthless just I think it just comes off abrasive sometimes, Donald. I wouldn't worry about it. Haywood says, and a fine line of hunting clothes and hip boots. Donald says, I had a mud flood this morning and wasn't good. Big fan. Yeah, I think he is. Bring your boxers if you had a mud flood. Yeah. Michael says, why didn't they make underwear dark brown instead of white? Well, these days you can get underwear any color you want if you're wanting to hide your skid marks. Mr. Lee says, I try not to make bad karma for myself. That shit is real, man. Your extra drawers. Haywood says, I knew a guy that messed up his underwear so bad they called the highway patrol to measure the skid marks. What in the hell? Donald says, so King Ken come up with what the stuff was, a coin or butter on Doug's car. If Ken can come up with the source, he'd be my hero. Although I think it was Doug's kids' puke from the night of drinking. Yeah. The only way to really know what the fuck that was is to get a sample, I think. But you're never gonna get a sample. I'm sure it's long gone. Mr. Lee says, Cowboy, that's an albino beaver, man. How you find that thing? Squash Cowboy says, I can't claim that, Mr. Lee. That was the Cowboy Hall of Fame in Oklahoma. Ruth says, just found out a law tested positive for coof. Found out an in-law tested positive for the coof. I'm going to visit him and see if I can have some coof. Yeah, that test don't tell shit, man. That test is a lie. Ruthless says, I want coof. I'm sorry, Ruthless, you can't get coof. It's a lie. I know all the information isn't out yet, but a lot of the stuff that I've been telling people is a lie surrounding that whole thing. That information's coming out right now. You're seeing a lot of it right now already. And there's more to come, I guarantee. The whole damn thing was bullshit. That test don't tell you anything. It's a bullshit test. It don't tell you have a thing that don't even exist. So I'm sorry, Ruthless, you can't have the coof because there ain't no coof. Everyone was at the beginning, they were just basically getting sick from all the normal causes. Although I think there was some amount of people that were getting sick from shit that the government don't want you to know that they're trying to kill you with, and they are killing you with. But um, but that's a whole rabbit hole that we can't go into here. Mr. Lee says, Cowboy, you should have stolen it for Miss April Christmas present. I'm so far behind, I'm not sure what some of the responses are. So you lost 4 subs today. Lost 10 in one day. They purge your subs, man. They do it. If you say shit they don't like, they'll I think they put a little trigger in your algorithm to siphon off a couple subs here and there. You know, they do some snaky stuff. But, you know, with Twitter's the whole Twitter thing and Twitter getting exposed for all this bullshit, and they've talked about how, you know, Twitter was doing it, and they know that Facebook and Google, YouTube were doing it as well, spreading all kinds of misinformation and throttling people's free speech when you're talking about shit they don't want you to talk about. And that the shit's coming down. Everyone needs to stay alert, keep the pressure on, to our elected officials to make sure that everyone, it all stops. It all fucking stops. Google, it's going to stop. And the people at Google who are responsible for this bullshit end up in jail. Some of them are so guilty of such heinous crimes at this point, like they share in guilt for the death of many thousands of people, and so they need to go to jail for the rest of their damn life just for that. There's more crimes that they've basically participated in, but they need to go to jail for the rest of their life. You can't kill thousands of people and still leadership selection process. You can't do that shit and just like not pay for it. You're going to pay for it. Who wants to butter your orbs? I don't know, Icon. I'm sure somebody does. Welcome to the chat. You don't understand. Wi-Fi is jacked up. McDonald's Wi-Fi always like it's adequate, but it sucks. Cowboy says he would have 3,000 if YouTube didn't screw everything up. Yeah. Watch Bluebell steam train come rolling in today. It was good. How goes it? Boba Fett. Back to Queensland Tuesday. There's something on the hill. What hill? Holidays and Midgen. Mr. Lee says Lockbeard, no, Bobo's genuine turpentine. Maybe, but I don't see him finding anything. And that show was complete bullshit. If you're legit, don't get involved with those shows. It just immediately takes away your credibility. Those shows are all bullshit. All of them. Icon, thank you. Hope you're well. John Wick says, wait, finding Bigfoot. Never found a Bigfoot? Well, that's misleading. Yeah, that's straight up false advertising, isn't it? If you name your show Finding Bigfoot, you better goddamn find some Bigfoots. Like multiple ones. You can't have multiple series of a TV show and not at least find one Bigfoot a year. I think you need to find one every goddamn episode. Your show is called Finding Bigfoot. You need to be finding some damn Bigfoots. They didn't find shit. Didn't they think they ran the train this late in the season? Must be a Santa special. Every Saturday. Talking about this live stream. Is Pet Monkey Bubbles fat? What the hell? Bubbles was a good one. Spank your monkey. Fangirling on Ken Wheeler. I just need to stress that if people want to know how the universe actually functions, and then that's where they need to go. Nowhere else, because I'm not aware of anyone else that's properly explaining the science. Someone who and the shit that he studied, man. The ancient Buddhist stuff and the Pythagoreans, Nikola Tesla, Steinmetz, Heaviside, all these. He's got it's like somebody took all these lines of truth and put them all through this one guy, and that is extremely important to humanity right now. I'm glad he's making all of his videos and stuff. I wish his live streams stayed up, but he deletes all his live streams, unfortunately. Hopefully somebody has been recording those without Ken knowing, because he explains a lot more stuff in the live streams and stuff as well. Sometimes because he deletes them, he's willing to say certain things in live streams on occasion that he normally wouldn't say. But extremely important, and so people who, if you want to actually understand what ghosts are, which we talked about, like he wrote just a short article explaining ghosts, and we talked about it here on the Lockbeard channel. Trying to explain to people what ghosts are, but unfortunately it's not enough because for the average person, because the average person does not actually understand how the universe functions and what the universe actually is. They got their different religions, and then they got mainstream science telling them this bullshit over here. It's all wrong. The truth is right there. Ken Wheeler explains it on his channel and in his books, his articles. It's all explained right there. It's extremely important that people start to understand it. Large numbers of people start to understand it. You have no idea how important it is. John Wick says there's nothing quite like a nasty meaty beaver roasted low, slow, and basted in orb butter. Chilling. Haywood says Bubble tried to grab my banana and was quickly relocated. Owl symbolism isn't about owls, it's about magnetism. Fangirling. Just chilling for the evening. Emails. Hard times with Bubbles. He wouldn't eat potted meat or Vienna sausage. Cowboy says Daddy said potted meat is nothing but lips and peckers. Probably is. Train to Bondi. Mailbox. I'm not sure what you're saying there. Pecker meat. Yeah, he said pecker meat. I'm just saying, it's ridiculous. Like, if you go into, I don't know what the ladies section looks like, but in the men's section, like, you're going there, you probably have a pretty good idea what you look for, but there's so much different shit. It's like, what in the fuck? I just want some damn underwear. What the fuck is all this? It's a goddamn disaster. You see more colors than, I think you heard, like, white's becoming a thing of the past. I think there's a lot of color. It's very colorful, and they're all different. I'm like, what the fuck? I can't even find what I want. Just want to contain my bits and pieces. Is that? Can we do that? Ruthless says Koof is nothing other than exosomes redefined. Uncle Bone says Professor Hines claims there are 57 varieties of orb butter, with pink the Panther variety the rarest. Wants from Koof. Only bushweed. Find outstanding hardware. Sounds harsh. Billy Bob says maybe Sasquatches do exist and are just beyond the frequency visual spectrum a human eye can detect. One could be standing right next to you. Can't 100% discount that. There's some problems there, though. I mean, one, there's zero evidence of that, so it's just speculation. Two, we haven't found any other kind of creature that fits that description there, right? If there is, one type of creature that exists like that, you would think there would be some others that are less intelligent that would be easier for us to detect, right? Because you're seeing them sometimes. People are clearly seeing them sometimes, and then they're not seeing them other times. Would be the hypothesis that you talk about here. Well, if that's the case, why isn't there other creatures that we have discovered so far? Because if we're going to discover stuff that straddles and maybe shifts back and forth or something, we're probably going to discover animals that don't have a lot of intellectual capacity before we're going to discover something like Bigfoot, right? That's capable of this. But we haven't discovered anything like that. So I think that we're dealing with I think that this hypothesis is probably not the case. Like extremely unlikely to be the case, because we haven't discovered anything that does that. We haven't discovered anything that does that. So Cowboy says nothing will happen to any of them, Lock. Well, I hope they get their comeuppance. Mr. Lee says, Ruthus, don't stick your head out the window of a train. Queensland bushweed is good. We'll never see any justice. We might. Hopefully we do. Lowe's has good internet, says Cowboy. Yeah, as I recall, it'd always kick off every so often, so you'd have to reconnect. Maybe different Lowe's are different. Walmart's can be pretty good in some of them if you get properly positioned in the parking lot. If you're going to be parked out front, like you have to get close and try to kind of find a sweet spot. Certain Sasquatch exist. Racist. Could be spear chucker grown. Cowboy says it might have been bullshit, but I thought it was fun watching until the end of the series. Talking about finding Bigfoot. Icon says with this, yeah, I forgot. My apologies to the abos. And God bless those poor little pygmies. Mr. Lee says, John Wick, I don't like Keanu too much. Also, John Wick's puppy got murdered. That shit unnecessarily, dude. Dude, Mr. Lee, why you don't like Keanu? Like, I can understand you not liking Tom Cruise, but Keanu Reeves, like, he's one of the most well-liked actors ever. Canoe reefer. That dude kind of sucks. What? Gotta catch the 3:33 bus. I'll get back. Mr. Lee says, Lockbird, you seen the new Avatar movie trailer? It looks good. Yeah, I've seen it. I don't know what I think about all that. We'll see. So often they make a sequel and they fuck it up. They just fuck up the whole thing, typically. So I don't know. Plus, like the guy, the worst baddie in the first movie, like they killed him. Supposedly he's like he that dude was fucking dead, man. But somehow, like, there's rumor, they say that he's gonna be in the new ones somehow. Well, how's that work? How's that work? Dude's supposed to be dead. Why can't people just freaking die sometimes and stay dead? I mean, I kind of like the old Avatar movie, but I don't know. There might be there's a complaint or two to be had for it. But Mr. Lee says Sasquatch have the ninja skills beyond our ability and sensory skills beyond our ability. Perhaps, but I don't think we've proven anything really. Avatar's fantastic, says Mr. Lee. Donald says garbage, Mr. Lee. And Mr. Lee says Donald must rewatch. Mr. Lee says Keanu, rubbish actor. Why do you say he's a rubbish actor, Mr. Lee? He's all right. He's all right. Talladega Nights. Like, I couldn't even bring myself to watch that. The previews look so stupid. I couldn't. But, I just don't like. I mean, it's a comedy. Not big on comedies for the most part, but yeah. NASCAR. Yeah, I don't have any interest in NASCAR myself. Billy Boss says, Lockbeard, we haven't discovered anything that does that except under human influenced scenarios, like infrared light affects certain cameras, as you said. Unlikely, but not entirely impossible. Well, so let's see if I can try to. So you have the spectrum, right? And there's frequencies. Let's say this is the range. Imagine there's a line here. I really don't have adequate representation here. But let's say this is the zone that we can see and interact with, right? Because there's some things, that you can't see. You can't see, uh, X-rays with your normal biological sensory ability, but we can develop technology to see X-rays, right? But infrared, ultraviolet, our technology can see beyond our normal perceptual range. What we can see, what we can hear, what we can touch. Because one of the things you'll learn once you start to understand the science that Ken Wheeler will teach you is that solid matter is light. It's the same goddamn thing. It's just extremely high energy light. Anyway, so let's say this is our frequency range that we exist in, and we have the ability to interact and perceive within this range. But frequencies go beyond that, right? In both directions. And they go on and they go on and they go on far beyond our perception. So if for everything in our world to function together, it has to be uh, uh, it developed. It things developed in this, call it a settling zone in the frequencies. It's just a good spot for a system to form and things to evolve, and for everything to interact properly. Things have to be roughly perceiving in the same frequency range, so that the proper interaction of everything in that system can occur and things can evolve. And so if you got too much overlap from something in the neighboring frequencies here, things that can jump in and out, you're going to get a lot of disruption to the system, and perhaps a system as organized as the one we have can't ever form. Now, if we're in this frequency range here, well, there might be like a dead zone over here, right, next to it. And then over here starts a whole nother settling zone where there's a whole nother universe existing there. It's right here where we're at. It is, and it's the same universe. We're not talking, there's not different dimensions. There's one damn universe. It's just that there may be life and entirely new systems in other frequency ranges that are separated off from ours. You can't have too much overlapping, because it would be too disruptive, and you would end up with either one system that spans the totality of all those frequencies, or you don't have a system that's stable at all. There won't be two stable systems. There won't be one stable system. There would be no stable system, and it'd just be chaos. So, but but again, I don't discount totally the possibility of things that can somehow be visible to us in our system, in our frequency range, but then make themselves not visible other times. But I find it extremely unlikely, because we would have discovered something by now, you would think. Now, ghosts might qualify as something that's existing outside our normal perceptual range, that sometimes comes into our perceptual range. So then you got to ask your question: okay, a lot of people see Sasquatch, and it appears to be just a flesh and blood person, big hairy dude in the woods, and that's it. They don't see any hocus pocus. But occasionally you'll get people, well, you get a lot of people saying they saw some crazy shit. I think a lot of them are lying. But if there are a few people who actually saw a Sasquatch appear and disappear, perhaps there ain't portals, perhaps they're not cloaking, perhaps it's just the fact that this is a ghost, that they saw the ghost of a Sasquatch, and that's it. So I don't know, if I was to suggest that to them, saying, look, you're jumping to the conclusion that you saw a Bigfoot jump out of a portal, or a Bigfoot cloaked like the goddamn predator. Maybe it's just a ghost of a Bigfoot, and that's why it can disappear and reappear. And I have a feeling that a lot of these people will reject that. Oh, no. Bigfoot jumps out of portals, because they think the idea is cool. Well, it don't matter. I don't care how much you think the idea is cool. If you got no evidence for it, you have no evidence for it. We know there are ghosts. We do not know there are portals. Like, somebody needs to show where there's been a portal that exists. We don't even need to talk about Bigfoot for that. If portals can exist, why haven't we discovered that as a totally separate thing? Forget the Bigfoot. That there's a problem there. There's a problem there with the whole idea, that whole line of speculation. So, but some people, they latch onto it. They latch on to the idea of portals or cloaking Bigfoot so hard that they spend a whole lot of time, waste a ton of time going down this whole freaking crazy rabbit hole, where they were talking about the hollow hairs and all this crap, and son of a bitch. It's exhausting. Exhausting what it is. Exhausting. Donald says, help me, Tom Cruise. I don't know if Tom Cruise is going to help you join Scientology. Shut up, Tom. See what you just did there? Chessboard says, Donald Fuller, I assume you mean. Don't mess with Wendy. Ronald McDonald got fired for showing her his whopper. Stop stalking you. Tom Cruise will never stop stalking you, Mr. Lee. Donald says, Tom, come to the new and exciting religion of Squatchology. Then Mr. Lee says, Donald, don't encourage the fella. Lockbeard, perhaps what Gary AAA's is saying about Ghost of Sasquatch very real, man? Well, I hate to encourage Gary because he's clearly got a particular agenda when it comes to Sasquatch. So I don't want to encourage it too much. Like there's some red flags with Gary. Sorry, Gary. It just is. Billy Boss says, I just like to think outside the box a bit, something that exists on the edge of the spectrum and may or may not have the ability to move back and forth. That'd be pretty goddamn cool. It's just that if we haven't discovered anything at all that can do that, I just have great doubts of it. Donald says if they were portal jumpers, we would never have ribs at Walmart we could buy. What? I don't even know what the Mr. Lee says, I don't care about hair, DNA, nothing. I would just like to see Sasquatch. I have questions. You want to question the Sasquatch? Cowboy says, if I ever film one, Mr. Lee, you will be the first to know. Well, maybe third. Icon says, Donald, they'd never lose their jack links. So I'm going to put that background just because I had David Bowie in the thumbnail. So someone was asking a question earlier. I don't see that person here right now, but I'll just go ahead and address it a little bit. Just a sec, if I can find it. Why is this thing not working? There we go. So the question was, what would happen to a person who was kept underground with no light for years? Could they develop night vision? So, like when a person, like if you go blind, your hearing gets more sensitive, right? You adapt, your system adapts, your brain adapts to the situation and learns to interpret data obtained through the sense of hearing better, just a lot better. And you can achieve, you know, some amazing stuff through that process. Anytime there's a lack in one area, you have to adapt, and you have some ability because you flex that muscle, right? So when you go to the gym and you lift weights, your muscles get stronger, more conditioned, they get bigger. And this is the case for every aspect of human biology. You have some flexibility to adapt to challenges if you are challenged in those regards. So if you're in the dark all the time, that should be the case for your eyesight, where like you already know that if you are out at night, your eyes adapt to that scenario, right? To where you can see better in the dark. Uh, you know, after the light's been on for uh, several minutes, and it only makes sense that if you were forced into a situation where you were in dark 24/7 for years, that your eyesight would become far more sensitive to extremely limited light. If you have no light sources in a cave or something deep down underground, you know, what light might you be detecting? Well, scientists have been able to figure out that the human body actually emits a little bit of light. You can't normally detect it with your eyes because you're just not normally um, geared to perceive such extremely low intensity light. But the human body and all life forms emit some amount of light. You know, not talking about bioluminescence, you know, like some animals extremely excel at bioluminescence, but this is just light that is emitted just by your biology. So I would think that if you were stuck in the dark for years down in a cavern, that eventually your eyes would adapt to be able to detect that light a little bit. So, I mean, that's what I think would happen in that case. Cowboy, or Mr. Lee says, Cowboy, that would be a real honor, man. Sasquatch interview says, I'd watch that. Sasquatch interview, you'd watch that, says Billy Bob. Chewbacca's here. Welcome. He says, Arg. Because Chewbacca, I don't think a lot of people are aware that Chewbacca is a pirate. He's clearly a pirate. He is speaking straight up pirate ease right there. Icon responding. Chessboard says, Lockbeard, explain light again. How do solid light travel through glass? Solid light. Well, for one, light's not solid. But I mean, the cool thing about like with glass, though, you know, the whole thing with light slowing down as it passes through glass. The whole idea that, you know, there's like this constant speed of light's bullshit, you know, and which you're well aware. But a lot of people aren't aware of that. They just think, oh, speed of light's a certain speed. No, it's not a certain speed. It travels at different speeds. Well, it's not really traveling exactly. At any rate, from what the way people understand it. They understand it as traveling, and it slows down as it passes through light. It goes at different speeds depending on what medium it's passing through. So oh, the solid light plasters through glass. Well, light isn't solid. It isn't solid. Donald says they would go blind. Yeah, Donald thinks they would go blind. I don't. Well, if you're talking about generation after generation, um, eventually evolution evolving towards an animal that doesn't have eyes anymore. Yeah, but I didn't take it that that's what she was talking about. Um, I my understanding of the question is that she was talking about if an individual person got stuck in a dark place underground or something for many years. Well, um, you're not going to evolve your eyes away as an individual because evolution doesn't work like that. But um, what may be the case though is after years underground, um, that if that person were to come out into sunlight, uh, they may have to ease into it. That their eyes aren't going to be able to handle bright sunlight um, for a while. I don't think they would go straight up blind, no. But if you're talking about over, a million years, would they evolve away from um, would their eyes begin to shrink and become useless, like a lot of cave organisms? That's what happens. What has happened to them? Mr. Lee says, yes, your other senses would adapt. Billy Bob says, I would suspect visual sensory deprivation and constant darkness would make you depend less on sight. Yeah, and that's almost certainly the case, where you have blind people, they're dependent on touch and in some cases sound to navigate. Blind humans can develop an amazing ability to navigate just like a damn bat with sound. No ding ding. Solid light. You mean hard light? um, Mr. Lee says, Lockbeard, what do you think about the theory Sasquatch is on the spectrum? I think that Christopher Noel, who came up with that ridiculous idea, thought he had a cool, new, unique idea, which it may have been someone else. I don't know. I don't know exactly where it started, but that was one of his things. And he was going to sell it. He was going to package that shit and sell it. We have figured out. We've understood the Sasquatch. The Sasquatch are autistic. A fucking ridiculous load of shit that somebody came up with there. There's no evidence of that bullshit at all. So I'm not into it. There's no evidence of that bullshit at all. Somebody thought it was a cool idea and was trying to sell that shit. I said light was so solid. Well, solid objects are light. It's high energy light. That's a whole different deal. If you're talking about the light we normally think of, that it's visual and like I'm waving my hand through it right now and I cannot feel it. I cannot touch it. My sense of touch cannot touch this light. I can detect it with my eyes though. However, you change the energy. If you have light that's of a higher energy, suddenly becomes not just visible, but I can physically touch it. Which means I'm made of light too, right? See that guy Hoggle right there in the movie clip? I used to work with a guy that looked like the human version of Hoggle. Ruthless says, seems someone confuses light with illumination. Mr. Lee says, I know Christopher Noel has a theory Sasquatch is autistic. There are many variants, though. There's absolutely zero proof of this autistic nonsense. Again, somebody thought it was cool, a cool idea that they could sell, and so they jumped all over it. Just like Moorhead thought quantum Bigfoot. He thought that was a cool idea he could sell. Next thing you know, yeah, he's selling it all right. He's selling it. It's much bullshit. There's all the time you have people trying to sell some bullshit. Can't spell today. What's wrong with you? Yeah, some blind people develop radar, sonar. Either way. We even saw that one guy that could actually drive a car, and he was blind. Now I don't know how much they would let him drive though, because if he makes a mistake, somebody dies. Donald says Noel needs to go back to writing greasy erotic novels. Mr. Lee says Donald, he didn't, did he? Yeah. Donald says Mr. Lee, he's got a few out. Mr. Lee, you didn't know about that. Ruthless says, I saw the blind guy riding a bicycle. Yeah. So, I don't know. Hopefully, everybody's got a better understanding of the orb butter. Because people were getting upset about the use of this phrase, which I think serves a purpose. This orb butter phrase is serving a good purpose. So some people are taking issue with it being used, or even deleting my comments when I use the phrase orb butter. Orb butter is a code word. It's a code phrase. It allows us to continually remind people who we are, what we think about these certain people, two people in particular, without like stating it all out. Like we could start saying it all out, or we could just say or butter. I mean, what do you want us to do? Or butter is how we letting you know what's up and where we stand on that matter. It's just a phrase. It's pretty harmless. Just don't read it. Skip over it. Why do you feel like you have to censor it or send messages griping about it? It's pretty innocuous. I mean, we're just saying or butter. Whatever. Leave it be. Don't worry about it. Or we could make a bigger deal of it. So, as a result of the way people are reacting to it, and people who are biased and are not listening and not understanding why we're saying this stuff, it needed a response. So here it is. Or butter and big letters on the thumbnail. We're just gonna this Saturday night live stream is highlighting the orb butter movement, if you will. Where we're rejecting some bullshit. We see some bullshit. Some of us see some bullshit, and we're rejecting it. And we should not be silenced. So, yeah. Cowboy says he lost another sub. Damn, what the hell's going on? YouTube's purging on you, man. They're purging subs. I'm kind of wondering. Let me see if I'm getting purged. Looks like I'm not. At least not during this live stream. Cowboy must be YouTube. YouTube's purging subs, man. Is orb butter like lung butter? I don't know anything about lung butter, man. Phlegm. Just versus Lockbeard, you said light was a solid. No. That's why you ask light changes frequency going through No, I didn't say light is a solid. I said some light's a solid. Or solid matter is the same thing as light. We don't perceive it as light, though. Like this, does this look like light to you? No. What I'm saying is it's high energy light. But when you say light, you're not normally referring to solid objects. You're referring to the light that I'm waving my hand through right now that I can't actually touch. It's not solid, right? It's not solid. So I'm not saying this light here is solid. I'm not saying that. Is Ralph Rose playing that little fellow? I don't know who played him. Mr. Lee says ruthless orb butter, not as good as orb lard. Just saying. Orb lard. Orb butter. Mr. Lee says, Lockbeard, I cannot comment on your channel no more. Yeah. I don't know why YouTube is censoring you like that. I tried commenting, or I tried replying to your comment to see if YouTube would make your comment show then, and it didn't work. So I don't know what the problem with you is, Mr. Lee. It's freaking dumb. It's getting old. YouTube, stop being stupid. Billy Bob says Google and YouTube suspended my account for 3 months, then sent me a message saying, sorry, we got it wrong, and reinstated it. Yeah. Well, when they took down my account and all the associated channels, had to start a new account because upon appeal, they would not back down. And I ended up eventually getting in contact with someone in person, and they still they were just simply not going back down on the first account or the second account. So now I'm on a third account. It's a mess. Hopefully someone like Elon buys freaking Google. Whiskey like Pat. Who's that? Who's drinking whiskey like Pat? That's just water. Talking about my Yeti cup, that's just water. Ralph Rose equals old bear, says Cowboy. Whatever happened to Mank? Probably got bored and wandered off with his flat earth nonsense. Ruthless says, gotta bail out. Thanks for having me, Lockie. Take care. You too, Ruthless. Probably gonna be done in just a second anyway. Yeah, Mr. Pat, says Donald, says Mr. Lee. See you later. Thanks for dropping in. Uncle Bone says to Ruthless, see ya. Christmas fella. Oh yeah, so so what's next Saturday will be Christmas Eve. So I plan on doing the live stream like normal next Saturday on Christmas Eve. Unless something happens that prevents that. Should be fine though. Should be able to do normal 6 p.m. Central Time Saturday on Christmas Eve. See you later, Donald. Thanks for coming. Mr. Pat making shows in a dungeon now. Well, if you want to call it a dungeon. It looks like a laundry room doubles as his studio. Thank you, Donald. Thanks for coming. That'd be a negative Ghost Rider. No. No tree in the van. Mr. Lee says, Donald, you can make Sasquatch snowman. What in the hell? So I don't know. I guess former everything thinks I'm taking on everybody. I'm not trying to take on everybody, but problem is almost everybody is not willing to listen when it's someone they think is their friend, or they've gotten too heavily invested in. They've interviewed this person on their channels, and they're just not willing to entertain the possibility that person might be dishonest about their story. So once again, this is more Transformers action. That's what this is.
Fuck, you're old.
Well, shoot.
I'll take you all on!
Mr. Lee says, Lockbeard, truth, zero bullshit. Yeah, very simple thing. Very simple thing. Be willing to be willing to call it out when it's not true. Even if it's your friends, you got to be willing to say, look, doesn't look like you saw what you think you saw. Why can't Transformers just get along? Yeah, that's a good question. Why couldn't they get along? That they made them look really good in those movies. Unfortunately, the writing was absolute shit. I just don't get it, And now they're making these new Transformers movies where they made them look different. I think they're trying to make them look more like the cartoon or some bullshit. I didn't need them to look like cartoon. They looked great in these they looked good. It was pretty cool special effects. But that's all that those movies had going for them was the special effects. They didn't write coherently at all, really. Like shit. It's like, why is this don't even make any goddamn sense? Like it's not plausible. Like none of it's plausible. So, even down to like why are they fighting, I mean, it was just a whole cluster. Like you can't even follow anything hardly very well because you're like, what the hell's going on? There's just metal everywhere and crazy shit half the time. It's like, and how the hell like the forces involved with some of the shit that happened? Like, it started from the very beginning, right? Because when they arrive on the planet, what do? They follow the sky like a meteorite and crash to the planet. Well, what the hell? All right. So if this transformer can survive crashing into a planet, what good does it do to shoot at them? How in the hell are they able to shoot and defeat a transformer when a transformer can fall out of space and crash into the planet and crawl up out of a crater just fine? That's the most ridiculous bullshit ever. No, they're not going to crash. They're going to land. They're going to have a controlled landing like a civilized creature, and that's plausible. But no, I mean, first thing, they crash into the planet. Like they're like it's just dumb. Freaking dumb. Mr. Lee says Transformers rubbish movie. Icon says they can't get along because they can't share a bong because they're robots. Hey, Hollywood, you need to make my version. Of course, it's a reimagining. I can't explain too much right now, but it's kind of a reimagining. And maybe, I don't know if reimagining is the right word. Robots that can change form, but the story is nothing like this Transformers bullshit. Like it's a whole different thing, and trying to achieve some level of plausibility with how they came to be and where they come from and how they work, how they function. Chessboard says, Lockbird, I might have misunderstood you. Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like it. No, I wouldn't say light. Some light is. If you understand solid matter is basically being the same, it's the same thing as light, but it's high energy light. Which, how do you wrap your mind around that shit? If you're, an average person who you're like, well, light's this thing and it comes out of a light bulb or some shit. It travels through space. That thing, you tell me that's light and it's just sitting there. I can see how this might sound ridiculous. Icon, no poet. Billy Bob says Transformers, the need for weed. Mr. Lee says, I'm so thankful my girlfriend don't like romantic rom-com rubbish. How you gonna sit through that rubbish? So many men have done it, Mr. Lee, and suffered the torment for a reason. They're looking for some action. A man will go through hell. Icon says, Mr. Lee, she dig horror movies. Billy Bob says it makes no sense. Just like Fred Flintstone knows that big ribeye is going to turn his car over, yet he orders it at the end of every episode. Mr. Lee says, Icon, yes, of course. Yes, of course. Donald says, Power's back on at the house. All the sci-fi you watch is rubbish. Red Dwarf, the movie, would be epic. Oh, man, I can't do Red Dwarf. How about B movies? Her favorite. Red Dwarf, the movie, would indeed be epic. Icon says, Mr. Lee, you are truly fortunate to have a girl with good taste. Indeed, Mr. Lee. Indeed. Yeah, there's Mr. Lee and his buddy Tom Cruise.
You can't handle the truth.
Locked up there for a second. Mr. Lee says, Lockbeard, you knucklehead, watch Red Dwarf. Ah, man, I just can't bring myself to. I've seen some more clips recently. It's just so ridiculous, Mr. Lee. It's just so freaking ridiculous. She tolerates you, Mr. Lee. Icon says, Mr. Lee, I think he needs to see the earlier Red Dwarf, like the 80s and 90s. Man, how long did that crap go on? All right. We should wrap her up. Thanks everyone for coming. Probably see you next Saturday, which is Christmas Eve. Not the normal time. Probably. Take it easy.